Hot dump. We're back. Whoo! Sorry for the extra long break, guys, and screaming in your ear.
It happens from time to time.
So it appears that yeah, you can just leave that open. Sorry, I got close. It appears that Kevin is not going to be making it with us, and he may show up a little later. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But we are joined by Will Glover and Rochelle, Moonbeam Musk Queen. And just so you guys know, that's a joke.
Just gonna
that's
stay
a
forever, isn't it?
It's a total joke. It's a total joke. She's
Yeah,
not
but
really she's not really royalty. She's just a regular old Moonbeam.
How do you know that? I'm not royalty. I could be.
So guys,
Queen.
thanks for coming on the show. And Rochelle, this is your first time on this particular show, and Will, welcome back. Any
Thank
show.
you.
I thought you were on something. My mistake.
Kevin
Who, me or Will?
Kevin may have been snatched up for a quick 30 and back. So.
No, that's not even funny, dude.
It is a little. Come on.
All right, so I don't even know where we should start. I mean, we had this whole thing planned out, not really, and then Kevin's not here. So.
It's just the winging it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so, Rochelle, I guess we'll start with you. Do you have any idea what faction you may have been in service of?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you have any idea which faction you may have been in service of?
Absolutely none. No, I have absolutely no idea. Unlike Tony and Ileana and Penny and Kevin, I actually don't know, and Will, I suppose as well. I actually don't know my timeline, so I don't have a timeline. I know I'm still an asset, if that's the word. You know, they still take me on a regular basis. I can't fully say whether they're all physical. But definitely wake up every morning drugged still. But yeah, I don't even know where to start. So a couple of years ago, I was going through some stuff and decided that, like, I've always been into ufology and all strange things. I'm always a weirdo and I'm the black sheep of the family. Mm-hmm. You know, I've never followed the rules or anything like that. And I just was going through a shit time. So I just started getting into being spiritual and everything just sort of fell into place. I come across James Rink's channel, read his book and followed him for probably a good 12 months. Then through that I met Penny and Ileana and the other guys, all the other guys, and then I ended up doing a talk with Denny Hunt. And then he did a high self. You were speaking with a fellow, Mick. So he was speaking about his high self channeling with Carl Mollison. Mm-hmm. I actually had one also, and he also did a deep subconscious channeling as well, which was really quite weird. But in the high self channeling, it was just more so confirmation to see whether or not I was actually used in the projects and stuff like that. Now, I always hold deferment. So, you know, I keep an open mind, and I ask several questions because I already was in tune with the pendulum and using crystals, not crystal meth, of course, but, you know, healing crystals. Just wanted to remind everyone I'm not psycho or crazy. But
it's an important distinction.
Yeah, it is.
You need to put it in there just for people's sanity. So I did a high self channeling, and, you know, I asked, you know, questions like, was I used in secret space program? And, you know, the answers obviously came back as yes, and that I'd served 2 tours of 20 and back, which I don't recollect whatsoever. It's not that I don't recollect, it's more so that I don't have the timeline like the other guys do. Like Tony is spot on with his 20 and back. I have snippets of recalls. I don't actually remember from the age of around 15, birth to around the age of 15, there's snippets of things that I do remember. There was one thing that Carl actually said in the deep subconscious channel is that they'd visit me when I was younger. I was only young when they'd visit me. I actually remember waking up and saying to a friend, "Get out, they're here. Get out of the room, they're here." So I'm presuming that was the Greys or Mantids or whatnot coming to get me. And I was always, you know, as a little kid, these are the things that I do remember when my dad was living with us, that I would be shit scared at night. I wouldn't want to sleep. So I'd get up all the time. Like, we'd get put to bed and then I'd be up going to my mum, I'm scared. My dad would come in and he'd belt my ass and back to bed you go. And I'd do that several times because I just didn't like to go to sleep. And the things that Carl had said to me actually make sense. So that, what was happening to me as a child. And of course, with everyone, there's always the memory loss. Well, not so much memory loss, but the not remembering things when you were younger. Like, I don't remember anything from ages 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like I said, it's just snippets of things. So that really got me thinking, well, maybe I am. This was prior to having the channeling with Carl. And, I had spoken with James Rink. And, of course, James was offering sessions with Peter the Inside from the ACIO. So I'd put in that I'd like to talk to him also. So I'm pretty sure I did my channeling with Carl, and then after that I was actually able to get to talk to Peter from the ACIO. So he basically confirmed again, so Peter from the ACIO confirmed again that, yes, I was used in the secret projects, used in the hybridisation project. I made jokes because he said, this is in Canada. And I went, because I've never left Australia. I don't even know if they'll allow me a passport to leave Australia. So I was like, Canada, wow, so I've been out of the country. That's awesome. I don't really...
Were you like, oh, Canada? Or were you like,
yeah.
oh, Canada?
I was like, I've been to Canada. Oh, wow. And I think he's just like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. But he was serious, and I was trying. I didn't know what to think of this. You have to hold discernment when anybody's talking about all of this. So, and, go with your gut instinct. And my gut instinct said that the information that I was getting from Peter was correct. And, other people have had some bad run-ins with him. That's their issues or whatever, but I haven't had any bad issues or any bad run-ins from it. I've spoken to him a couple of times since the initial contact with him. But yeah, it was quite freaky to find out that, your life's a lie. Or you're running a double life or a triple life. How many alters have you got? How many mind fractures have they done on you to take you where? And I spoke to Adrian Espinazo also, and through his software he said that I had 12 children on my... So it was so much to comprehend at once. It's like, what the heck?
Jump. So what about you? What about you, Will? Did you ever have contact with Peter the Insider?
Never with Peter. No, never. I think I might have emailed James once, and I never heard back from him.
Right.
So, but whatever. I'm sure he gets plenty of emails. But yeah.
It took me a couple of times. I had to sort of hassle him. I don't take sort of an answer. Like, dude.
Yeah, and I'm not on Facebook. You just can't look me up. I'm kind of just like this random guy emailing somebody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're not even on Facebook, are you, Will?
I am not on Facebook.
Burn the witch.
Right. Wouldn't be the first time.
Speaking of Facebook, you guys, jump on over to Facebook and join our Facebook group. You like that? Yeah, that's an advertisement segue.
Yep, that's where you should be.
I learned that last hour.
Mastership posting place.
All right, so no contact with Peter and the ACIO.
But just to say, I have recalls with Rochelle.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I actually I reached out to Will after watching his talks with Denny, and there was just an instant I just resonated with him. Didn't know what. I haven't had recalls. I don't remember Will, but there was just that instant. I've got to reach out to him. So I did. Didn't expect to hear from him, and well, Will can take it from there, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very overwhelming, actually. I was expecting a bunch of not these type of memories to come up. I knew Rochelle very well. Let's put it that way.
But you remember, you actually remembered me well and truly, like a year or so before I even reached out to you. You had actually said to me in emails that you remember me. Can you talk about that?
Well, I just, it was. I had been seeing a blonde girl that I thought was somewhere like in my mind's eye, and I thought it was in I'm sorry, in Antarctica, but I think it was actually Rochelle in Australia. But yeah, it was just that kind of instant knowing, and like literally, it was like I was flooded with, just a whole lot of emotion that I like a very deep connection with Rochelle, and it was I was not expecting that from an SSP memory at all.
Right.
Actually.
Yeah, it seems pretty counter from, what a lot of people say. But then again, there are always stories about, relationships developing.
Well, I think they wanted our kids. I think that. I think that was. I mean, it was totally arranged. It wasn't our choice.
Really,
we were forced together. Yeah.
Wow, I can't even imagine it. Like
microphone eating.
I can't even imagine it. Like being part of like a forced breeding program.
Yeah, I mean it's like stud. Yeah, I mean I was
studs.
Like
we were like a stud farm.
Yeah, I mean we were just pumping out. Like that's that was they wanted as much as because we were both super soldiers, so they wanted as much. They wanted a genetic matching of us.
I mean, that kind of makes sense, though. Like, given the whole pattern of abductions and everything else.
Well, I mean, I think it has something to do with we share a very unique ability, so I think they're wanting kids from that would inherit that. I'm thinking.
So from our lineage line.
What ability is that you share?
No. Will would know more than me. I am still working this out.
You actually do know. I mean, you talked to Elena about it. I mean, I feel like it's that looking glass type of.
Yeah. So Tesseract project. So I'm sorry, don't mean to cut you off, Will, but when I was teaching myself hypnosis.
Hypnosis? Yeah, I'll do that.
Hemorrhoids. Self-hemorrhoids.
Don't do that.
Self-hypnosis. Oh, Lordy. Anyway, he won't help us. So when I was teaching myself, actually, Ileana we speak regularly and she's helped me out a lot. And, I asked whether or not she had a guided meditation for hypnosis and she sent me through hers in it. And, you have to find your own hypnosis and what makes you comfortable and to open yourself up to be able to do it. But I used the techniques that she had in her hypnosis and made it my own. So I did the corridor hypnosis. So I walked up a flight of stairs, and when I got to the door, behind that door was a set of doors, and each door was numbered with my age. So 1 to, we'll say 21, 1 to 41. Anywho, and behind each door, I would say to myself, is what I was used for in the projects. So I am pretty positive. I've written it down, but I went through door number 3. And no, sorry, it was door number 6, which was age 6. And behind that door, I was seeing clockwork, and instantly came to me that it was Alice in Wonderland programming. And then I saw a figure of a white rabbit, and then I saw the actual white rabbit, and I got instantly Alice in Wonderland. But the clockwork and the colours and the purples and the blues and all of the mechanic clockworks. Anyway, so I woke up next morning. I wrote it down straight away after the hypnosis session, and then the next day immediately messaged Ileana, and she actually went and looked into my mind for me psychically, and then she sent me all the images, and I'm like, yes, that's what I was seeing. She goes, yes. So Tesseract project, which is the natural ability to time travel. I can open up time travel portals in all aspects of time travel. I mean, I can't do it now, obviously, because I'd probably teleport over to you now, and I open up walk in there. G'day, mate.
You ate too much musk for that. I mean, you have too much musk in your diet, too. No, but... So would you say that this was like a replacement or Montauk version 2.0 or something?
I've had a recall of Montauk. I actually watched the Montauk Chronicles and then remembered running in the corridors of Montauk pregnant with a guy I actually know, and I was in labour, and we were trying to escape Montauk, and we were caught. And then next thing I was on a bed with a grey at my head, a tall grey, and he'd been drugged and whatnot over in the corner, and then they took my baby. So, and it was a girl because I've got 2 boys now. And I was like, damn yes, I wanted a little girl, a little musk queen girl.
the
No,
moonbeam
but
baby.
it wasn't little moonbeam baby. But no, it wasn't a very nice recall. But yeah, that's the Montauk recall. As far as the other one where we were talking with what Elena saw, no. So we worked out it had a lot to do with the United States Naval Observatory. And I actually did remote view, and I saw a girl in a yellow dress. So did Elena. She actually saw me playing a piano, which, at certain frequencies opens up. It's actually technology to help open up the portals. But I saw a young girl, and I thought it was Ileana, and it wasn't. It was actually said, no, that was you. And I'm like, oh, okay, wow. And when I went and looked at the photos of the United States Naval Observatory, it just all resonated, and I'm like, I've been there. So she did write up a thing on her message for us. Message from a star traveller on Facebook about it and explained a bit there. She was also
Hello, Rochelle?
Are you there?
I think we lost her.
Yes, are you there?
No,
I just had a
Yeah, you just broke out. You
Yeah,
dropped out.
Sorry,
for
I
a sec.
had an incoming call come in. So
Oh, okay.
no, that's okay. So yeah, but well, there you go, Will. That's what Will was talking about.
So, Will, what are your recalls about this Tesseract program?
Well, I don't have any specific recalls to that. I mean, the pictures look really familiar to me when she showed me to them, but I don't know. That's when I started having recalls with what I think is some sort of naval officer as another as a alter that's currently still out there.
Currently still out there. And that would be, I'm assuming, well, I guess, what was your original service? What faction was your original? Do you have any, suspicion? Was it the German fleet? Was it Americans?
Well, it's kind of weird because I've had I basically took 6 months off, not thinking about any of this because it's kind of making me go a little bonkers, and it's just too much. But I just come to realize that I keep trying to remember my 20 back, but I'm not going to remember because I'm still active, and it's only after you get done with your 20, in real time, it's the same time period. Mm-hmm. When that's over, that's when your memories start coming back. So I think that's why Rochelle doesn't remember very much right now either, because we're still up there.
We're still serving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so
that's an asset.
They can literally mind wipe us at any time. So not to make excuses. I just don't remember that particular.
No, that's not a crime, Will. Actually, no. Go to Gulag.
Whatever faction was involved with the power plant that I live next to, and I think that would probably be more of an ICC. It had kind of a Draco feel to it. I don't know. The only reason I say that is because I'm pretty sure that I was used in some sort of Draco hybrid program. Okay. So I'm not sure by which program that is or who was overseeing it, but that seems to be what the purpose was.
Well, what about you, Rochelle? What type of personnel? Do you have any recalls of personnel? What type of people was it?
I do. There was, it's a recall remote view of a rescue. I was in some type of a military uniform. I was doing a rescue of children from an underground base somewhere. I'm not 100% sure where that was. When I tried to look back into it, I walked into what was the kill room where they were killing all the children.
Oh, so, Jesus.
Yeah, some of my recalls have not been pleasant at all.
Very pleasant. Yeah, I mean, considering
a lot of them aren't.
Considering the nature of the stuff that's going on, I mean, most of them
Will
are
and
not
I have spoken, the next day, and we'd say to each other, I'm feeling extremely emotional. And then he'd say, yeah, well, we've done some heavy shit. And I'd be like, oh, well, that will explain why I'm feeling this way, because there would be no reason for me to feel that way. And he'd be like, we've seen some shit.
Right.
So.
Pretty traumatic shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen things you people wouldn't even believe.
Well, it's pretty traumatic when you wake up in a killing room. So you've had people talk about kill rooms before. What do they call them? The wet rooms. I woke up in a wet factory.
Oh,
so
damn.
It was a factory of all women being tortured and killed and put through giant minces and meat minces, like you'd see the small ones in the butchers. Well, these were massive ones, and I was in a cage ready to be killed, and I got myself out, and
wow.
I was followed. The women that were in there doing the torturing were almost zombified. And when I escaped, one came at me with a machete, and I remember the sound of, like, I'd obtained the machete, obviously, because I have a certain set of skills. So I was just the movie Taken with the guy that says that he has a certain set of skills just popped into my head. So, and anyway, I obtained the machete and I cut her quite badly. She pulled two out and I got the other one off her, and I can still remember the sound of her skin cutting, and to wake up after that. Yeah, that's.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the story, your story, Rochelle, but my question is, these women who were in the room torturing and with machetes and whatnot, were they other humans or?
Yeah. So they were human,
wow.
but they actually they looked like they were, like I described it when I wrote it down. They were like zombies, but they weren't all, rotted out. The skin wasn't rotted out. They actually just looked like normal women.
Brainwashed.
But
right.
Yeah, there was no. You looked through them and there was nothing, and there was no, almost like a no soul. So they could have been a drone type.
Clones.
Yes. Well, I mean, some clones still have souls from, what. I don't know, but these women were just they looked soulless to me. I mean, you looked them in the eye and they had no empathy whatsoever. They didn't care what they were doing.
There wasn't.
There was nothing.
Well, I mean, that was probably a clone of Rochelle that was there, and then she woke up in the clone and then broke free. I mean, that's that could be a possibility. Let's put that way.
Right.
Shoot, the best torture of you is yourself.
No.
Oh yeah, I messed some shit up, but that.
Joel.
It was fight or flight mode. It's kill or be killed, basically. That was, sorry to interrupt, but I did actually ask Peter, the insider, what this was about, because it was something that really played on me. I'd really hurt somebody, and I felt guilt and remorse, even though they were going to kill me. Like I said, it was kill or be killed. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, was this a holographic insert? Because, a training thing, and the answer wasn't real clear because we got sidetracked, but that is a possibility. They do put you into they do holographic inserts like that for training purposes. Mm-hmm. But it felt pretty damn real to me. I mean, when you can feel the pressure of a machete going into somebody's skin,
right?
We don't have to go into that, but yeah. So
well, the other thing too is we had Joel Lakey on a couple weeks ago, and he said that the Draco will take women and just like completely dominate them telepathically, and they can essentially just make them do whatever they want.
So that is actually interesting, because another thing I think I did briefly speak with you about, Donna, and I think I might have mentioned it to Will, I'm pretty sure I did, was I woke up because celebrities, I don't know whether celebrities you do this whole pay-to-play thing with our clones or what, but it wouldn't surprise me being elites, far up Beyonce's and all that sort of thing. But I had a memory with Christopher Walken, and he's a creepy-looking mofo anyway, but I woke up and I was a rag doll. I was dressed as a rag doll. I was paralysed. I mean, I remember tears forming in my eyes and falling down my cheek, but I literally was paralysed. I couldn't move, and he had me propped up like on his knee, and he was using me as a puppet. and I was just completely paralysed. I couldn't even scream, couldn't even open my mouth.
Terrible.
But they did whatever they did, and yeah, so some pretty not nice stuff. So when you talk about the Dracos, it makes me wonder whether or not he's one himself, and
Or
But then again, the celebrity play to pay, who knows?
Well, we were talking to Kevin, and he was putting forth that he thinks that they set those type of things up. And I wish he was here to talk about this, but
Yeah, because we've got a couple of things to talk about that.
well, hopefully he'll show up eventually. Maybe he just slept in or something. All right, so what he was saying was that he thinks they were setting them up so they could then feed off the energy of the act itself. So maybe the Draco are like renting it out to the rich guys just so they can feed off. It's like a double bang, they get money and energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So energy looshing. Yeah.
Well, that's what I think that cloning centers are. I mean, that's what I think that whole cloning center thing. If you believe that's real or not, I mean, I have experience with that being as a kid. So, and it was filled with people in the stands. Like that's what always messed with me was all these people cheering and all this stuff. Like it really boggled my mind. I was like, what is who are these evil people screaming? Anyways, I mean, I assume that they sort of did. Elites and celebrities. I don't ever remember seeing. They always blank out the faces for me.
Yeah, but you've had experience with, isn't it Donald Marshall? Will?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Weird. I mean, we trained together. He was I think I mentioned this before. I mean, he was a pain in the ass.
Yeah. You didn't feel no remorse flogging him when kicking his ass.
Well, they always get in trouble because we always got punished as a group, and he was always messing up, and it pissed me off.
You bastard.
Well,
didn't you drop him from I
mean, the punishment is everyone getting electroshocked.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not like a joke. I mean, it was like a whole lot of pain every time that he screwed up.
So, what kind of stuff was he doing to screw up?
He wouldn't comply. I mean, I was already broken. So it's not like his fault at all. It's just where we were in circumstance. It was just he was always. By that time, I just learned to deal with it and go with it, and I wasn't just throwing a fit every single second that I could.
Right.
And I mean, I waited. I tried to be a little bit more clever about it, but I mean, it was just, and he would just kind of just cry, and then he was just weak. I mean, that's what I always remember calling him, was weak. And when it came time, like we started figuring out that we weren't going to die, because a few of us started realizing that this was a game, because we were there every freaking night. That sometimes I would just kill him to shut him up.
Jeez, man.
As ruthless as that sounds, and the thing is, another guy remembers that relationship I had with him. Like when he told me other circumstances where I was messing with Donald. So,
wow.
And then someone said that we're actually genetically brothers somehow. So really? I mean that there might be that kind of weirdness going in. And now that's somebody said that. That's not anything in my intuition or anything like that. But
right.
It wouldn't surprise me in a way.
Huh. Very interesting.
Yeah, it was messed up. I mean, that was my first recall. That's why, I mean, that was when I first realized that I was being used, was when he was literally describing every single thing, to the hockey rink and the sand and the where we fought each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it, like I said, just remembering it right now, I'm starting to get emotional. I'm getting emotional, but it was it was intense.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
So, well, my first recall, you all want to get your shot glasses ready. So, I've just thought I'd bite in after. Sorry, Will. Was with Penny. So, Penny is beautiful, but Penny and James Rink was my first recall, which, I mean, I'd been investigating, I suppose you could call it, James for over a year before. And I never dreamed of him or had any recalls of him before.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden, and I think I'd known Penny for about 6 months, or had Penny as a friend on Facebook and briefly spoke to her also. And then, that first recall, which shook me, was of Penny and James Rink. And James was chasing a whole heap of super soldiers to kill them for this object that I actually had. So I had to not so much hide, but just run. Because if James had got hold of me, he would have killed me for sure. Mm-hmm. I've spoken to James about this, but so it's okay. So I was hiding, and I was using cloaking technology in this room, and James walked in and obviously had found me, but he couldn't see me because I was cloaked, and he was just losing his shit. And then Penny walked in the room, and she was speaking to him calmly, and got him to calm down. And then my cloaking, I'd uncloaked, and in the rush of it all, we opened up a portal and we banished James into the portal. And then Penny and I rushed out of the room, and I can remember holding onto the door so that it wouldn't suck the door or anything else through to the portal. But once James was through, it closed. So that was my first recall ever and I was like, what the hell? James he's a good bloke. He's a nice bloke. Always been polite to me. And I thought, what the hell? And then through watching his Super Soldier talks, he does say that there are a lot of clones of him, even with his talks with Peter the Insider. Peter the Insider also says that there's lots of clones of James, and they're misused, so they're not used for very good things. And I did eventually get to speak to Peter about this, and he said, yeah, it was a clone, and the device that they wanted it gave you the ability to fly. And I went, is that all? I said, so he was going to kill me for a device that could, and he goes, but he wanted that, so he was going to use that for bad things. So I don't know, I could probably fly and travel long distances. I was probably like some Titan or something where,
right,
I don't know, but it was this black device, and I described it, and so that was my first ever recall. And
so
yeah.
Now, Will, I know you've had some real regular life experiences with low flying helicopters and some other things. But Rochelle, have you had anything happen outside of that? Would you mind talking about it?
Yeah, no, that's okay. So you just wanting to know whether I've had flybys and stuff like that? Yeah, of course.
Well, just anything like did you see a craft? Did you anything like that?
I have a vivid recall of an abduction. Yes. So that came after. So when I started to really get into my meditating, I remember I put on a meditation, a guided meditation, just music off YouTube, and it only went for an hour. And I'm a really shitty sleeper. I mean, a lot of people who've been using the projects have issues with sleeping, clearly. But so I'd put the music on, laid down, and I believe I was only out to it for 15 minutes. But I vividly remember leaning at the base of my windowsill, looking out the window, and two triangular crafts, one after the other, only probably maybe 10 metres apart, if that, flew directly and sort of hovered over my house type thing. And then next minute I was in bed, my whole body was vibrating, and I woke up and I was sort of trying to compose myself, and my earphones were still in my ears. And then I looked at my phone, 3.5 hours had passed.
Wow.
That's far
so
out.
I was like, what the actual fuck had just happened, because it was a little bit disturbing. So I don't remember being in the craft. I don't actually remember. I don't know the feeling when my whole body vibrates, it's like the sensation that you'll get off a phone when your phone vibrates. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't remember where I went, what they did with me. I was on my back because I meditated when I laid on my back. Everything seemed to be normal, but yeah, the craft were vivid. They were massive, and all I could think of was the second craft. Why a second craft? And what does that second craft put everybody in within the velocity of my area asleep? Because they do have that technology to lower from what I understand, to lower the frequencies to put people to sleep so they won't see anything like that, because not everyone sleeps through the night.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about you, Will? I mean, we've discussed some stuff before, but do you have anything like that you'd like to share?
You know, I ran into that guy a couple more times. He was actually really nice to me the last time for some reason. Kind of was like, you know, but other than that, things have somewhat calmed down. I haven't seen a black helicopter in a while. I did see a drone the other day, but I can send you a footage of it. I videotaped it. It's like looks like one of those 4 propeller drones with a bunch of cameras all over it and stuff. That was pretty weird.
Right.
We see black helicopters around here all the time. That's because we live between like a naval base and like
An Air Force base.
an Air Force base and naval weapons stations.
Actually, the other night, I don't know if we were
Call
broadcasting.
letters on the side? Did they have call letters, or they just straight up black?
straight up,
Straight up black. Straight
Okay.
up black.
See, I'm only about 15 minutes, not even that, 10 minutes away from the airport. I mean, my hometown, I think there's 16,000, maybe 17,000 people with all the breeding going on here, but 17,000 people here. I'm only maybe 8 minutes from an airport, but I know there's a golden helicopter which is owned by people who have a lot of property, like farming and stuff like that. They're quite well off, but there's been little mini black ones, but I did have a black one hover over my property, and it had a light at the front of it. And I've had a red and yellow one, or red and blue, one, hover over my house and follow me. And I just thought, well, I didn't really think anything of it, because I've got an airport just out the road. I don't have any military. I mean, we don't have a military base here. We have Army Reserves, which is in sort of the middle of town, but that's it. But there's bases everywhere, so...
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The other night we were doing a screening call with a guest, and the helicopter just kept flying back and forth over my house the whole time we were trying to do the call. Like, oh my god, what is going on right now? And it was funny too, because it didn't start.
Did you video it?
It didn't start until he started talking about the helicopters that were flying around us.
Yeah,
it was pretty funny actually. But too bad it wasn't a show.
when I did my talk with Denny. So when I did my talk with Denny, I had a craft hover over my house, but we had overcast days, so I couldn't see anything. But all I could hear I could hear it, and it's a low flying jet, but it was just hovering, and I did it for about 10 minutes and then took off.
So,
and I know that the TR3Bs, that's right, they don't actually make a noise. They use all anti-gravity technology, so they're silent.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't imagine that any of those anti-gravity crafts would make noise.
We have somebody from the comments that has asked me to ask you about the Nerf gun.
The Nerf gun?
The Nerf gun.
Oh, this sounds like a good story. I gotta hear this. Tell us about the Nerf gun.
Who are you talking to?
I don't know.
You, Rochelle.
Me?
Yep.
The Nerf gun.
I've been asked to ask you about the Nerf gun.
Who was that?
I don't know.
I don't know. You know what?
I need a little bit of more information. I mean, geez, help my memory a little bit.
Was that from Tomas? Because he's been sending me cryptic messages like that all day.
Yes.
Like, ask him about this. And they're like, what?
Yes, it was.
What, I shoot mice with my Nerf gun? I mean, you know, I'm on the outskirts of town, so we have a lot of mice, so I used to line the mice up with the Nerf guns, but... he could ask me about the grey that I had imprinted on the curtain in my house, which I freaked everybody out at my 40th. Like, they were like, what the hell is that? And I said, it's a grey. I said, when I checked in with my higher self about it, it was watching me. I don't know whether it has anything to do with what Wookie, you know, the people Wookie interviewed or not, but this was going back a year ago, but it's gone now.
Sandia crew.
I actually have a photo of this grey imprinted onto the curtain. I'll have to send it to you, Don.
All right, awesome.
But yeah, like, I have no idea what he's talking about. Nerf gun.
Gotcha.
I have Nerf gun fights with my kids. I always win because I'm crazy.
But since you brought it up, yeah, what is your impression of the Sandia crew? We've been asking everybody else, so we're just gonna ask everybody.
I had a visit.
Really?
I had a visit. Yeah. I'm just holding discernment about it because, I mean, the greys are the ones that are used to abduct us, and wipe our memories. And that was one thing I said, I said, I can remember seeing you, but why can't I remember the interaction? and there was no reply back. So I asked who it was, and they said it was Newell. I think that was I'd have to have a look on my tweets, my comment, and I said that I'd had a visit. Who was it? And they said who it was, and I think I asked, why can't I remember it then? Like, why can't I remember the interaction? I can remember the face, but that was it. Like, well, why is all wiping my memory?
Yeah.
Like, why? That's it. That's all I've got to say. I'm not saying that I don't believe them. I think they're good or bad or anything like that. But I mean, Greys wipe our memories. They're the ones that are, you know. Same with the military. I mean, it's not just the Greys. Military. I mean, you know, they use serums and whatnot to wipe our memories. So.
Well, what
if I had a visit, then why don't I mean, like I said, I remember seeing this grey, and then when I asked them about it, they said it was such and such, and then I said, well, why don't I remember the actual proper interaction? How long were they here for? Nothing back in return.
Well, that's one thing that stands out to me is that, like, you usually see greys with the solid black eyes, right? Like solid black shiny eyes, but the Ponti, they have like human eyes.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing too. Telepathic races have the ability to screen whatever they want you to see anyway.
That's true.
So the mantids do as well. They can. The mantids have got the ability to calm you as well. They. I mean, I remember through listening to things over the last couple of years that the mantids are actually paired with the greys to calm down the humans during the abductions, because they can just completely put you into a state of like euphoric, and that you're all happy and shit's all good, and you know, but we're just going to butt probe you, so that's all good. Yeah,
that's fucking
we're taking you.
Ready the anal probe.
That's it. I just watched the movie Paul. You know, he goes, hey, fuck Knuckles, it's probing time. It was hilarious.
There's this old Kids in the Hall bit where they're like, look, we've been coming to this planet for 50 years, kidnapping humans, anal probing them, and the only thing that we've really found out is that 1 out of 10 doesn't seem to mind.
Oh, well, so what they're saying over here in Australia is don't knock it till you try it.
Oh, man. Well, look.
That's terrible.
I want to put this forth for both of you to answer, and then we're going to cut to a break because I need to use the facilities and walk around a little bit, and then we'll come back and chat some more. We've been asking this to everybody today, so damn, here it goes. What do you think disclosure will look like realistically? How do you think it's going to play out? I guess
I'll let you go first, Will.
Well, I'm trying to talk my alter into just parking a ship over Central Park.
Yeah, you're coming to visit Australia first.
I'm like, that's the only way it's going to happen. In my the real disclosure, but I'm sure that won't happen. But I expect. I don't know. It's kind of a complicated topic for me right now because I've been having. It seems like other timeline dreams involving an alien invasion. So.
Well, that's no good because especially with with Randy Kramer talking about the DOD wanting to go ahead with some kind of fake mantid invasion.
Don't get on the ships.
And everybody was the problem is that everybody was mind controlled. We weren't fighting aliens like we would think we were. We were fighting other mind controlled humans.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
It's like worse than Skyline.
So they're not going to use the mantids now. They're just going to use.
No, I think that was the first phase was using the humans against the humans, and then the second phase is when they start landing.
Oh, great!
So,
oh boy, I can hardly wait.
I mean, I don't. I mean, if my alter's out there, I don't see how he could let. I mean, I don't see how that wouldn't. I don't know. Like I said, this seems like another timeline completely because it seems like it's right now. Or even in the past when this happened. And like I said, I have another. Do you think that they're? Sorry, Will. Do you think that they're androids, droids, or cyborg? Like, do you get when you energetically feel about? Do you feel that they're actually mind-controlled humans, like organic? They're humans. It's like. Like there was a scene where we were in a school and it felt like we were kind of regrouping, and then just a whole group of humans just started rushing in, all kind of primal, but not zombie like bloody and gutsy, but just like a blank look on our face, bum rushing us, and we literally mowed them down. And there were people in uniform. There were all types. I mean, it was just all types of people. And the problem was with that, because I've had like 4 or 5 dreams in the same universe, and then another guy's had 4 or 5 dreams in it too, and we don't understand what the hell is going on while we're getting shown this or not. But it was, once they turned, that was it. Like there was no going back. Like it was one of those really horrible situations.
Do you think it was on this timeline, or do you think it was on a separate? Because we live in, my understanding, we have it that we're living in a multiple timeline at the moment. So
maybe that's yet to be determined.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like, because I feel like it was another timeline. I mean, I was in the like the me there was in the military, like just a normal straight up military, Earth-based military.
The energy I get out of it, that's the same as I feel as it's another timeline, parallel timeline. Could be the one that Hillary Clinton won, won the presidency, and she's now running it like a Nazi camp.
Cackling murder lady.
Cackling. That's Madam Cackling Murder Lady to you.
Sorry, Will, what did you say?
Just to say, it could have not been even an alien invasion. It could have just been a mind control thing. You know, they could have just flipped the switch, like the guy who was talking earlier, Matt Wyatt, or what? Anyways, one of the guys was talking about the Morgellons growing out of his fingertips, and he was talking about that's I feel like that's a very similar situation to what we were experiencing.
Terrible.
Oh, well, I don't. My look on disclosure, I don't actually think that anything's going to happen until the planet cleans up its shit. I don't think anything's. I did read the Pentagon passing something or put something out about, UFO stuff, but
everybody kind of just was like, whatever.
Yeah, until they clean up the cabal or whatever you want to call it, and they, take out the Rothschilds and everything like that. I mean, nothing's going to change, and that's the sad truth.
Well, according to the Ponte, it's coming in 2024, whether we like it or not. So
you just love you some Ponte, don't you?
I'm just saying. It seems like they're the only faction of off-worlders that's actually sort of on our side.
Yeah, so they say until they mind wipe you, so you don't really know.
Everyone else just wants to come in and suck out our adrenal glands.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's probably human hybrids that have come back from wherever. It's probably half human. If they have pupils, then they're probably half human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's kind
of
like
they have been trying to genetically modify them to be. I mean, because they don't have any reproduction glands or whatnot. So, I don't know. Some of them got well and truly probed though. If they've got human-looking eyes.
So is that why they keep doing that?
Aussie joke.
Is that why they keep doing the probes? Because they're like, what is this?
Like I said, don't knock it till you try it.
Once you go xenosexual,
never ever bend over and pick up the soap in front of a grey.
No. All right, well, with that, we'll leave you guys with that and jump to the break. And when we get back, we'll continue this lovely discussion and more. Maybe Kevin will show up, maybe he won't. But, you can't be mad at him. I hope it's just something as simple as, he's sleeping. I hope it's something like that. I really do. But anyway, we'll see you guys when we get back from the break.
Okay.
Hi there, it's Justin. Is there a band that you love and you wish you could turn everybody else in the world on to? That's us every week over at Deprogram. Get together, we talk about a band, we give you a top 10 starter kit for you and anybody else who wants to listen to that band. It's pretty simple, it's a great time, and it's a great way for you to discover new artists. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you can download your fine podcasts. That's Deprogram. Learn them and love them, people.
Hey, buddy. Want to buy some memes? This one's banned in the EU. Only $10 for the dank ones.
Oh hi, Space Jesus again. If you're looking for a little redemption, hop on over to patreon.com/realitybrief or redbubble.com/people/realitybrief and think about giving a little something to that cause. Why donate to the pot and church when you can donate to some pot instead?
After the break, how to survive an encounter with a telepathic spider.
And is your neighbor involved in black operative mind crime? Ways to find out.
Find out on Reality Brief. Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? Can you hear me now?
I disagree.
Well, that's why you're wrong.
So wait, we just accidentally streamed that?
Mm-hmm.
So the entire world saw that?
Mm-hmm. Can you hear me now? Hello?
What? Transporter room. I need you to need a site-to-site transport directly onto the toilet. We've only got 10 minutes for this break.
Man, I told you to speak into the microphone.
Blue chickens. Look, they're gonna be moving into your neighborhood. They're gonna be passing your laws. They're gonna be teaching your kids. You know.
God, I'm so fucking hungry, man. I haven't eaten dinner yet. Hello? I don't know if it's working, Dan.
It probably isn't.
Shit, man. Shit.
Why don't you just get the goddamn Google machine to fix it, huh?
Fuck. Hello? Whoa. What do you mean it's on fire? What? Get a text. Is it them?
Shit!
Go.
Я пришел дать эту песню.
Our legal department here at Reality Brief has advised us to indemnify ourselves given the nature of our broadcast. In the interests of broadcasting responsibly, we bring you this periodic required legal disclaimer. Reality Brief is not responsible for injuries or damages inflicted by paranormal phenomenon, alien abductions, government brainwave beam machine, or other directed energy weapon effects, accidental activation of MK Ultra or similar conditioning triggers, malfunctioning cyberware and or bioware, interdimensional meddling and or alternate universe incursions by alternate universe versions of Dan or Don, unintentional teleportation, psychic attack, time fuckery, demonic possessions, malefic sorceries, altered memories, brain parasites, nanite infestation, infection by a strange glowing substance of any color or combination thereof, spontaneous astral projection, frop frenzying, irregular or regular hauntings, orbital strikes, Stargate malfunctions, unexpected changes to the fabric of space-time, implosion, being stalked unexpectedly by small woodland creatures, being probed, come on, you know how, sudden sinkholes, private sector electroencephalographic mind crime, corrupted cerebral data, missing time, unwanted romantic advances from sea mammals, sudden changes in brain chemistry, unexpected landing parties emerging from shuttlecraft on or near your property, electromagnetic voice phenomenon, scromiting, uncontrollable fidgeting, blurred vision, low balance, numb tongue, sweaty palms, sudden attraction to beards, acne, nail biting, or diuresis that may be experienced after watching an episode of Reality Brief. Thank you for your viewership.
Oh, hi. Hi, how you doing out there?
What's going on, guys? We're back for
Glad you could join us for
Hour
hour
two.
9.
hour 9.
Hour 9 of the 12 hours.
We've been at it for 9 hours.
We're still alive, too. Look at us go.
And if you're not sick of us yet, we love you.
Man, 17 people still here 9 hours later. I can't believe it.
It's been quite a party today.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for keeping us company.
Yep. Thanks for being part of the fun.
So, we're here with Rochelle and Will, and we're going to continue our lovely discussion. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo. Thanks once again.
Okay, so can I just before, while it's refreshed in my mind, about the Nerf gun incident.
The Nerf gun. We figured out the
yeah.
Yes. Tell us about the Nerf gun.
So my children and I like to play Nerf gun fights, and my son, I'd flick the Nerf gun around, like in the movie Wanted, where she flicks the gun and it moves. Mm-hmm. And I basically did that, and I wasn't even looking, and I just flicked it and shot the gun, and the bullet hit my son directly in the middle of the eyes.
No.
Oh, shit.
And the guy that was sitting across from me is like, how the hell did you do that? And I said, what? And he goes, you got him directly in the center of his eyes. And I was just like dumbfounded. So that's what the Nerf gun incident was about. So I must have some pretty good training with guns anyway. Like,
you should have told him.
Pretty accurate.
You should have told him you think that was badass. You should see me jump out of planes.
No, my son cracked the shits with me. He lost the shit. He lost his shit with me real bad, and he wasn't very impressed at all because I laughed, and that was probably the worst thing to do. And the accuracy, like I just flicked it around, like I'm right-handed,
right? And
I flicked it around behind me and just went click, just off my shoulder, and just went click, and it got him directly in the eye. So yeah, I thought it was just a fluke, but then, So, my training is probably I have a very special set of skills, apparently.
Sounds like that Equilibrium Christian Bale gun foo.
Yeah.
Gun foo.
Thomas actually, that's where he just posted a thing about that movie. And does anybody? And that resonates a lot with me. So I knew now I know who wrote the comment and where he was going with the Nerf gun thing.
Dope shit.
Anywho, carry on.
Nice, very nice. So during the break, we were having a nice little chat. I think we should go ahead and let everybody else know what that was about.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was though. So could you tell them?
So, well, if anybody's familiar with the Getty Museum, I don't even know where the hell it is, but anyway, the Getty Museum.
In Los Angeles, it's a huge $2 billion building that and a lot of it's underground. It's literally on the mountain that splits LA. It's on there.
And ironically enough, it connects a lot of the underground tunnels. It connects to a lot of the celebrity, I think Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger's. You know, a lot of the celebrity homes. It's actually not too far from the, I did investigate that from the Playboy Mansion as well, and there's also known tunnels, blueprints of the tunnels underneath the mansion. A Playboy Mansion came out, which also connects to the Getty Museum. Anywho, so I listened to a talk about the Getty Museum, and I actually was able to remote view, and Will and I share recall remote viewings of the Getty, and I remote viewed and saw the Nazi remote viewers. They've got a room underneath the Getty which has just got Nazi remote viewers and I'm actually now they're dressed in their uniforms, their Nazi uniforms, with their long grey jackets and their hats. There's absolutely nothing else in them. They're all lined up like you would see the Nazis going to march. And there is 6 rows, I think, of 10. So it would be around about 60 remote viewers, Nazi remote viewers in this room. And what they are there for is to block anybody else trying to remote view the Getty. Will and I also remember seeing the elevator, which was massive. It had the big nuclear sign on it, and it was the size to fit a tank. And Will, you can take off from there if you like.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty splotchy, but I definitely remember there was a good sized force. We were having these recalls when there was actually a fire up near, and they had closed off the museum, and that whole mountain was on fire. Actually, this is when we were having the recalls, and I just remember that we went into. I had this dream, which I now know is I was piggybacking on another altar. But we went in and secured this nuke. We got it, pulled it out of the cement and pulled it out of there. But we went ahead and basically took over that. It's a whole underground city there. It's whole. It's huge. It looks like I remember seeing what looked like a giant mall inside of there.
Yeah.
It was huge, and it had all these fancy shops, and everything you would think about would be underneath an LA city.
Didn't you and Kevin call it this the spa? Because Kevin and I both described the massive. It was like a white cement building with massive arched windows, very fancy. There was. I think you and I saw the trees on the footpath. There were small trees on the footpath underneath. And along the side.
Being marble, but I mean, marble.
Yeah, marble. Yep.
And yeah, it was basically. I mean, I remember seeing this really fancy gold spa, and I thought that was kind of weird because it just seemed out of place. But then I had listened to this. That's what made me send her this link to this talk, because he mentions that at the beginning of the underground city is this very ornate golden spa there. And
everything in there was red velvet, like blood red velvet. The material is blood red velvet, and everything, all the trimming on everything. So on your chairs, your the picture frames, the pens, everything was gold, like just pure gold. It was hot. It was yuck. Like the energy in that room was like, a lot of shit's gone down in here. This is just blood. Like it was just blood. It's all So the Getty Museum's used for not some really great stuff.
Yeah, it's a really weird. It's actually a pretty good just physical conspiracy. You start looking into it. It's kind of weird.
Now you've actually been there, haven't you? Will, you've actually.
When I went and did that.
Past?
I'm sorry. What was that?
you drove past, or you actually went?
No, I just drove past it when I did that TV shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we drove past it. And I just remember thinking like, what the hell is that weird ass place? And then I had a dream of being in a clone body that night too, and I was running around all crazy around the underground city.
I have a question for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all talk about remote viewing. Is there like a, lack of a better term, like a ritual that y'all do, like sit back, cup of hot tea, relax your mind to get into that, or does it just happen like spontaneously?
You're back hired again, Zach.
I will.
Yeah, for me, it's more spontaneous.
Okay.
Honestly, when I try to, I never try to envision anything actually, because I just things just come to my mind like without me really trying to imagine it, and that's kind of, I know that sounds sketchy, but that's just kind of how I differentiate. I mean, if it comes up and it kind of has a life of its own without me trying to put anything towards it, then it means it's a little bit different than I mean, I really try to.
Okay, good.
And mine is based, the way I see it, like I asked Ileana what would be the best remote viewing thing to learn from, and she said from the Farsight Institute, and I did download, but I didn't actually, because I ended up with a lot of attacks after last time I remote viewed, and that was I asked to remote view. I just sat there and relaxed, just normal, go into a meditative state, and I'd ask myself, kept asking over and over, show me where I was taken last night. Show me where I was
What
taken
university
last
was that again? Can you run that by me?
Farsight Institute.
Farsight Institute. Gotcha.
Farsight Institute. They have a YouTube channel, and they do remote viewing sessions that they record and whatnot. So I just get relaxed, and then that's when I started seeing, I was walking out of this place with these children. But it's the same with me. Mine just happens. If I'm focused in on something, it just comes and I start seeing images. I do the remote sensing as well. So through that recall of the rescue of children, I could, sense that it was damp. The tunnel we were walking through was damp. There wasn't any water, but it was dry, damp area. I could tell the kids smelt what they were wearing. Right. The colours, I could differentiate from the surroundings and the cement tunnel that we walked through. Then the grass as we walked up, like I take a lot of note when I'm seeing things, and I try to take as much detail from it as I can, because it actually helps. So it's more an energy feel as well. You can feel the energy of the kids, like when I went back after remote viewing the rescue of the children, I went back into see where it was, and we went through the room where there was decapitated children's bodies, and that we actually had to bring the children through that room, and it was all we had was our lights from our but all I can remember is the children, they were just numb, but mortified, but numb, and I could feel their energy, and it was like I got teary about it, because I felt empathy for these children. But the thing that for me as the person getting them out was get out, don't look, get out, don't look. And that was basically all we would tell the children. Keep going, don't look, get out. We're here to help you, get out, don't look. But these poor little kids they were so freaking numb, and it was so sad, but we got around about 20 out, so, but I can't, a lot of remote viewing, they give you a coordinate, like a number, which is obviously linked to the coordination or the coordinate of what they want you to remote view. If you do get to look at the Farsight Institute YouTube channel, you'll actually see he gives them a certain set of numbers, and then they actually draw and whatnot what they see. I can't do that. I haven't tried to do that. It happens. Right. And I don't have a lot of control over it. And it's the same with, once I try to relax and I can get into a hypnotic state, things just start happening, and you just start seeing these images, and it's so.
Right. I have one.
I haven't learned to do it.
I have one more question. I'm not trying to derail anything here, but just one more question. After y'all were talking about remote viewing the Getty Museum, and after something like that, like not really like being told, hey, check out this time and place, like it just like if you want to like check out what's going on in the outskirts of the Gobi Desert or something, right? After an experience like that, like what is the feeling that you have like when you're finished with the remote viewing experience? Is it like, holy shit, did that just happen? Or is it like a feeling of peace or like just a little bit more conscientious? You know the word I'm trying to say.
G-off.
Yeah.
That,
Most of the time,
of the situation of what's going on around the world.
most of the time, it's what the hell was that? I mean, it's like
it's a freak out.
what
What the fuck?
And
did I just do that? And what the fuck am I looking at? Like, I didn't realize it was a Getty until I Googled it, Googled Earth, the Getty too. Like, I live in Australia. I don't know nothing, and I never was aware of the Getty, never heard of it before. So it was like, it was a what the fuck moment.
Right.
And write that shit down, store it.
Right.
Yeah, most of my visions are actually from my dreams, so-called dreams or whatever.
Okay.
Like that's where I saw that stuff with the Getty was in a dream.
Okay.
So what's funny is,
and it's the same as when you watch something like I watched the Montauk Chronicles, and then that night I watched it in the evening, and then that night I went to bed and I had a recall of Montauk. So, those things can trigger you as well.
It's funny because recently, Wookie, the guy that was on before you guys, me and him talk a lot. So one night I was talking to him and I went to sleep, and when I woke up, I responded to his message or whatever. But then I sat down on the couch before work and I passed out. And I like actually projected to his house or something. I shit you not, right? I got there and I'm like, what the fuck? And like then I talked to him later that day and I was like, hey man, does your couch look like this? I was like, you got this kind of dog? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, I came to your house, man.
Yeah.
I have one more.
That's really cool. Sorry, continue.
No, that's go ahead, Zach.
I just got one more quick question. With remote viewing, is this something that you get used to, or is it like almost like, no pun intended, alien experience every time?
It's not only an experience every time, definitely not.
It can be overwhelming. I think because of our our abilities being used up there, I think it comes a little bit more naturally to us because that's part of we've been trained in that way and probably used for that. So I think that's why why it just kind of comes naturally for us and just kind of emerges, and why other people aren't just having these experiences all the time.
Okay.
There's actually a movie coming out I did share on Twitter. It's called Third Eye Spies, if you want to look that up on YouTube. It's actually about PSI, I think it's PSI, and remote viewing and all of that through military and everything. So that I watched the trailer for that the other day, and I thought I'm sharing that because that's going on the list to watch. Look, remote viewing, you can be trained in remote viewing. We all have these abilities, unless you're a drone or a cyborg, I suppose. But then again, they probably have some sort of implanted in the side of their skulls that allows them to do that. But we can all remote viewing. It's practice. It's the same as, meditating. Everyone can meditate. You just have to keep practicing it. But then again, with some people, it just happens. Like I know Ileana, she remote viewed some things of me and Will. And I was like, oh, really? I said, oh, wow. I won't repeat it because it was quite raunchy, but anywho. So she actually saw things there. She'd remote viewed. I think she's learnt to do it, whereas I haven't. I try. My brain capacity just says, nah, you're stupid. Don't do it. But, like I have that's the programming coming in again saying that you can't do something. Everybody can do it. So you can do it, Dan can do it, everyone can do it, as long as you find your happy medium or you find a good institution to help teach you remote viewing. There's another fella on Facebook, Brett Stewart, I think his name is. He also does remote viewing, and he has a YouTube channel too. And he remote viewed the blue chickens just to bring them into conversation.
Oh shit!
And he came through with some really good information in regard.
Sorry, try to hit that. I hit the wrong sample. I wasn't really.
He remote viewed blue chickens. He wanted to know about them, and yeah, so he debunked it. He's debunked them anyway. I'm not going to say that the BC word again. So yeah, anybody can do it. That's just the thing about remote viewing. So, and some people are better than it. But this new movie that's coming out, what was it? The I Spies would be really good. Third I Spies. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really good. I try to watch all that sort of stuff. You know, it's like with the Bob Lazar movie that just came out. I jumped straight onto that as well. Oh well, there's this disclosure. When you were talking before we had the break about disclosure is everywhere. Disclosure is happening every day. It's just not out there in our face.
Right.
Pretty much. But yeah.
Yeah, like
Anyway, sorry for the rant.
I'm definitely part of the drips and drabs crowd. I think that it's not going to come all at
Definitely
once.
helping. No, it won't. I don't think it'll be until, I don't think it'll be until, we have to clean things up here first.
Right.
I've had recalls with Trump, and the energy through the recalls with Trump has been quite pleasant. But he's not the man he's painted. I mean, everyone's going to have their opinion, and that's fine. And I still hold discernment about him. I hold discernment about everything, even the things that I'm remembering, or my recalls. I'm like, I'm just batshit crazy. This shit didn't happen to me. So I still hold discernment. But Trump in the recalls, he was lovely. His energy, he's no reptilian, I don't think, anyway. So
You're talking about Donald Trump, right?
yeah,
Okay, just making sure.
old mate. We call him old mate Trump.
Oh mate.
Oh god.
He's holding that card for a reason. Hey,
Old mate orange
the
peel.
recall. Old mate. That's better than blue chicken, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I'd rather be. Oh, an Oompa Loompa. It actually reminds me of an Oompa.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Anyway.
I've got a Twitter post for you.
That movie was a whole different kind of wrong. I'm sorry, but anywho,
Oh damn.
good times.
That's good
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. You can tell it's been 9.5 hours for us now.
Things are starting to get weird.
Let's get weird.
Come back next hour and we may have clothes on.
Oh, I'm so glad I called in and I didn't video call in. My eyes would be bloody burnt. I'll be going to hell.
Oh man.
Do you guys see the shadow people outside the door?
Or is that just me?
Actually, don't joke about that because I see a lot of entities and shadows, and I'd be driving along and something would just pop up in my freaking window on the side. I'd nearly have a crash, but I see them.
You know, that came up twice earlier.
I knew a guy back in high school that ate like a ton of caffeine pills and basically stayed awake for a week straight. And
Don't even say he saw shadow people, Dan. He was saying he was up for a week straight, man.
just because he was hallucinating doesn't mean he didn't actually see them. You know what I mean?
Are you sure they were the caffeine pills and it wasn't hallucinogens?
Yeah.
It was not some sort of ecstasy or something. He told you that it was caffeine. It was ease.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, he just stayed up for a week, so he was just hallucinating from lack of sleep.
Yeah, but he said after 3 days he saw
They're
the shadow
real.
people, and after 7 days he saw the shadow universe.
Oh shit.
So, no, so seriously, this came up twice earlier today, and one person was saying that he thinks a lot of the shadow people sightings or what have you is archons. What do you guys think about that?
Will, do you want to talk about the octopus thing that remember the recall you had about? I remember you telling me about the octopus.
Yeah,
it was massive.
I mentioned in on our first talk on Reality Reef here. But yeah, that was Rochelle was in that recall.
Really?
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and tell it to us again,
man?
Yeah.
I mean,
this is honestly, this is the recall that made me question everything because it was so crazy, and it still is so sci-fi to me, or just I don't. Anyways, right. Moral of the story is we're a team. We portal in, and there's 3 psychic women. There's me, and we were in charge of slowing down time, and the 3 girls were there to get us in and out, and we each had. The girls had 2 protectors. I had Rochelle as my protector, and we basically portaled into this underground base. And there was basically a portal opened, and all these kind of octopi, actually they look more like squids to me, were latching on the people, and we could, and it was like this whole breach thing, and we went in there and slowed down time and basically closed the portal and incapacitated all the people that were already taken over.
This thing was huge, wasn't it? It was massive, and like Stranger Things, massive. The big octopus thing.
So you think it was like
cover Stranger Things?
Think it was like Cthulhu?
Oh shit!
It's a big giant.
I've seen this being other times, so it actually is like a giant. I mean, it is Stranger Things. Might as well be
right.
But the legs are different, and it has way more of a weird intelligence behind it. I mean, a really creepy,
psychic. It had really psychic.
Yeah, terribly psychic. Yeah, I mean that's like that, very much so. I mean, good. Basically make you see things and see illusions. That's why we had to slow down time real fast so we could be in and out before we could get affected by their mind field or whatever.
That's goddamn disturbing, man.
I like that a lot. We had to slow down time real fast.
I've been working on that for a while.
Fast.
Yeah,
I can't even laugh about it. I mean, I know it's. I see the funny side of it because that's some scary fucking shit.
Yeah, man.
I like the whole Slenderman thing, and these shadow people. Like my youngest now talks about Slenderman, and I said, you know what, Mum fucking rips their head off, mate. And he's like, oh, you kill them, Mummy. I said, yeah, I damn well do, buddy. Because I don't want my children to be scared of these shadow people, and that's the same thing. Like if you've had KJ Scoop on the show before, and she talks about it with the children, because our children, we've got to protect them. I had portals in my son's room, and these things were coming out and scaring him in the middle of the night, and he wouldn't sleep. He'd go to sleep, and then they'd come through the damn wall again and scare him and stuff like that. I had to close down portals every single night in his bedroom. They're the shadow, like she explained the movie Monsters Inc. That's what they're doing to our kids.
Right.
So if you got kids, make sure you're setting the intention to make sure that anything in that room is closed, because you're looking at your Slenderman and all that sort of freaky ass shit that's going to be coming out at your kids. And I'm a hell no to that shit. Like I've got crystals everywhere. My kids both have crystals for their pillows, and I was religious on checking in every day and every night before my son went to bed to make sure the portal in his bedroom was closed, because I'd walk around in my whole house seeing if any other portals were open, because they can do that. They can open up a portal anywhere. There's not just a specific portal. They will put in their coordinates or whatever, and then bang, they're in your bedroom. Or your children's bedroom. So, and I see the shadow people walking in my peripheral vision, and then I'm like, hell no. I'm going to see you later, and I'll try and get them to go to their divine frequencies and blueprints, and I say little mantras, and then I don't see them again. So, yeah.
I mean, do you guys think these are archons?
I think it's very complicated. I mean, I think they can project themselves as just a jet black figure if they don't want to be seen. I mean, I think there's definitely a psychic element to all this. So.
Right. Well, a lot of times, shadow people or whatever are associated with sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
So like
Which-
They also
Just
are
like
the,
you know.
I see that there's beings that can jump through. I mean, they could be sixth dimension beings that can actually drop down to the third dimension, but they can't be seen because, we've been messed with so much. Because we've been messed with so much. Like we should be able to see them in full figure, but they, in our timeline or our dimension, we can't actually see them in their full form. If that makes any sense, try and get it. I can't get it. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like 9-dimensional beings can come down into the 2D and the 3D, but
we can't
I don't
perceive
think
this like a 2-dimensional person couldn't perceive 3-dimensional. Just like we can't really look at a 4-dimensional object.
Or a 5-dimensional.
we're meant to be able to because we're.
Go ahead.
I think we're 12-dimensional beings, but because we've been suppressed, people may disagree with me. I can't see in the chat, but if anybody does disagree with me, feel free to snap me out of it. But we are all 12-dimensional beings, but because we've been our pineal glands been calcified. We've been mind manipulated. All the Monsanto, all the chemicals, everything comes down to absolutely everything that they've done wrong in the planet. We can't go to those other dimensions. You can in your meditative state. This is where Kevin needs to be here because he sort of gets, I can't say it in sort of terms, but we can go to those other dimensions, but because we've just been stuffed with so badly, we're like putty, like we're like Play-Doh at the moment.
Shoot.
And that's why I don't think a lot of disclosures are happening right now, because we've got to clean ourselves up. Like we've got to clean not just ourselves within ourselves, but we have to clean up everything else as well.
Shoot, that's why I tell people don't drink the tap water.
No, we don't drink it. We wash in it. That's bad enough. But here in Australia, you turn on your shower and all you smell is chlorine. And so I don't let my kids drink the tap water.
Nah.
We get bottled water. It's a little bit better, but it's still. But you put a bit of lemon in your water, and you're automatically alkalining your system anyway. So, and you need your body to be more alkaline than acidic, because cancer can't grow in an alkaline system. So if you're ever sick, look at your alkaline and your acidic levels, and piddle on the little thingy and check your acidic levels, because there's a great chance that you're acidic. You're too acidic, and that's the reason you're getting sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that Edgar Casey talked about. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
No, I'm stupid. No, I don't. I read a lot, but you tell me someone's name, I wouldn't know who they are. But I just read a lot, and I know that cancers can't live in an alkaline system. So, if cancer can't live in an alkaline system, other diseases can't live in an alkaline system. So, if you've got your levels right and your body is alkaline, then you're going to be less prone to being sick.
Right. You familiar with Edgar Casey at all, Will?
I'm not. I mean, besides just the whole sleeping
prophet thing, yeah.
Sleeping prophet, and that it's similar to what I've had a recall of. Like they put us under, and then we yap about stuff. So that seems to be a common thing. And that's it. That's literally all I got.
It's pretty big in this area, just because his original hospital and the research center devoted to it is in Virginia Beach, not far from where we live. So.
Well, I do know that he reincarnated as David Wilcox. I mean, that's definitely 100%.
What?
Know that? Really? Come on. That was obvious. I mean, they look just like each other. Come on, guys.
He went there. It was funny because when he went there, I lived in Virginia Beach. And my grandmother volunteered at the ARE Center. And when he went there, I remember her telling me, like, some guy came in there kind of fit Edgar Casey's reincarnation. And they're like, get the fuck out. Yeah, and then when I found out about that, I was laughing because I was thinking about my grandmother telling me that. It was freaking funny, man. I'm sorry, Rochelle. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I have no idea. I've just lost my shit. I just yeah. That's all good. I don't know. Next.
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 Okay.
Okay.
Did you guys see that video of the TR3B on that was behind one of the satellites? I think Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I actually watched the 3-hour. Isn't that the Dragon? So it's a SpaceX thing.
Yeah.
That was meant to dock onto the ISS. ISS, how many S's is there? 2.
Right.
Yeah, I watched. There was a 3-hour thing, and gosh, there was some funny looking things behind that drag. I mean,
a little clip on YouTube, and it literally shows a triangle craft in the background, like creeping by, and it goes behind the solar panel. I mean, it's there's a bunch of these kind of that show things up there, but this one's pretty hard to deny. I mean, it's definitely an unidentified whatever orbital object or whatever.
Well, through the 3-hour talk that they did, they actually did some because obviously, it went night and day or whatever. I don't know how long it took this thing to dock to the ISS. That's it. But they did nighttime visions, and they had a camera view which was really super clear, that actually looked like it was all underwater. And I'm thinking, these are doing a dodgy like the moon landing. They're all doing it underwater. They're doing underwater video. And then they had another one which was anyway, they had one. So they had one where it was the camera view wasn't very good, and it was supposed to be nighttime. And I was trying to think, is that lights from the Earth? No, that can't be lights from the Earth, because things were going underneath this thing. Anyway, I'll forward it to Dan and Don, and they can go through it and have a look, because it was quite interesting.
Actually, even better, why don't you post it to our fancy Facebook group over at Reality Brief Exo News and Conspiracy?
I can do that.
Getting good at that.
Plug that one more time.
That would be Facebook group, Reality Brief Exo News and Conspiracy. You can check that out.
Awesome.
Yeah, that group is awesome. And
the Twitter one, please tell the Twitter one too.
Oh yeah, Twitter. I don't know the Twitter one. Say Twitter one more time for me. I like it with the Australian accent.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
Twitter, bruh. It's almost, we get a bit of a mix of a New Zealand. Don't take the piss out of me.
Did you just say Twitter breath?
Twitter. Said nice. Twitter bro.
You got Twitter breath. Leave me alone.
Sorry. Whatever.
Oh man, so we got about 5 minutes left or so. So, anything else you guys want to add before the end there? So, 5 minutes worth.
Will, are you still doing your blog?
I haven't done anything in a long time.
Do you want to plug that?
Oh shit! Sorry.
God, look at you breaking things.
I do want to say something real fast.
Yeah.
And that is, please do your research on some of these people that call themselves channelers and are out there trying to help my labs, especially, and SSP vets. Please do your research. I personally don't. I have some issues with that.
Reservations, yeah, I do too. And they were speaking about it earlier. That, I mean, look, you can get walk-ins on your channelings. False light representing light, and can just feed you a whole heap of bullshit.
And if you're gonna go the psychic route, go to 4 or 5 or 6. Try to get a broad view, and if they all say the same thing, then you got something to work with. But just stick with one, and only working with one, I feel like, can lead you down a very, I don't know. You can get caught up in some stuff.
Right. I think that's some very solid advice there, and I would also add, probably not the best idea to give up one master for another.
No.
Right.
Well,
amen.
Whenever I talk to somebody who tells me that they're interested in getting into the occult or studying the Hermetic sciences or magic in general, I tell them that one of the first things that they ought to read is Sane Occultism by Dion Fortune.
Why is that?
I've never read that book, but
Me neither.
It's a good way to keep yourself from going, being level 2 and going completely overboard.
Right, and summoning up some shit that you just can't handle.
Yeah, I just read the Geisha for the first time. Let me summon Asmodeus.
Oh shit.
Penny speaks about the the V2K, the voice to skull transmission. I mean, who's to say that these channelers aren't? That's what they're transmitting. They're transmitting to you through your channeling sessions. So there's a lot of possibilities, and we don't know if these people have got the V2K implants. Anybody could have them. When I do my clearings, I try to clear all mind control implants, all negative entity attachments. I mean, Eric Rhymes, sadly he didn't come on today, but he's brilliant to be talking to about all that sort of stuff. I'm a fella that both Will and I have had sessions done with, and I found that he's really great. He's Stephen Proputep. So do you want to talk about that a little bit, Will, before we end up?
Yeah.
Your
he's one of the few
experiences with Stephen.
I'm sorry. Yeah, he's helped me. I mean, I've gone and seen quite a few people, but I've done a lot of work with him just because we gelled, and he's got a great sense of humor and things like that. But I mean, if I was going to recommend one person, that would who I would recommend.
Same, and he's on Facebook as well.
He never talks crap about other psychics. You never talking like, oh, that person's a bad channel or this and that, and like that means something to me, honestly.
Right.
So
yeah, no, I feel the same way, and he was lovely, and he still, he's just mellow. Like, he's probably one of the mellowest people that I've ever met.
He's seen some of the darkest crap.
Oh yeah,
and
made some good jokes.
He's like, oh my god, look how bad you are. Like, holy.
Yeah. He's not afraid to hold back. He'll tell you how.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on that.
No, it's great. He adds some light humour into the conversation, into your session with him. He was just brilliant, and he actually has done. He does have a YouTube channel, but I don't think he's added to that for a while. But he did do a session. Sorry.
I was just saying, I want to recommend him as a guest. Not that I even trying to plug him.
Yeah, I actually do too.
But he's in my lab, and he's like, he's a crazy ass magician too. I mean, he's an interesting fellow.
That's right up Dan's alley there.
Yep.
I think he's got one of the most infectious laughs though, because he starts laughing and you just can't help but laugh. I mean, he'd be sitting there saying, "Oh God, you just got your head ripped off and look at the blood pissing out of your brain," and you'd be laughing, and that's it. You just start laughing. It's like, oh, is this what he's saying?
All right, guys. Well, we're coming up on the break, so we got to get ready for the next one. And I just want to thank you both again for coming on the show.
It's been an amazing couple hours, guys.
I really appreciate
Thank you. I'm glad I made it. I thought I'd have to cut off at about 25 minutes and say I'm going. I don't know what to talk about. But thank you. Thank you from me.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Awesome.
We'll talk to you later. All right. Where's the button? There it is. Ow. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and jump to the break and get ready for the next round table. This one's going to be a little interesting. It may take a little longer to get set up, but we'll see what happens. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Put it back in your pants. Space Jesus sees everything.